The moment of eternity. It was that moment of eternity when there was no earth and no sky. There was no existence of time and no concept of space. Not even a trace of light existed. And there was just one reality, beyond everything. Allah Almighty. Then by His divine word, be, Allah Almighty created water. And He established His throne upon it. This was the first stage of creation, where the cosmic backdrop was formed. An endless expanse of water, over which the throne of divine authority and decree stood in all its majesty. As the Quran declares, and His throne was upon the water. This scene was as if a proclamation that the journey of creation was now about to begin under the command of the divine will. The beginning of creation. Thus, when the divine will moved toward the direction of creation, the darkness of non-existence stirred for the very first time, and matter began to come into being. By His perfect power, Allah Almighty brought forth a tremendous energy. This energy was concentrated within a single unit, a single point. A point immeasurably dense, unimaginably hot, holding within itself an endless ocean of energy. And so, with a single command of be, the caravan of existence set into motion, and that magnificent chapter of creation opened, a chapter whose echo still resounds through the vast expanse of the heavens. This was the moment when the sky, the earth, and all of creation were joined together within a single point. The Quran describes this reality in these words: "Have those who disbelieve not seen that the heavens and the earth were once a joined entity, and we split them apart?" This was the very point from where the journey of creation began in the form of a great cosmic explosion, and the universe entered its first stage of existence. The creation of the universe unfolded in 6 days, that is, 6 stages. As the Quran declares, and He is the one who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. But these 6 days were not like our human days. Rather, they were divine phases of creation, whose reality and duration are known only to Allah Almighty. These 6 phases can be divided into 3 major stages. Now 2 phases, the creation of the heavens. 2 phases, the initial formation of the earth. 2 phases, the completion of the earth and its preparation for life. The first stage, the creation of the heavens. When by the command of Allah Almighty, energy burst forth, that sealed singularity shattered and spread into countless directions. This was the very moment, which today is referred to as the Big Bang. The Quran hints at this reality in the words, "So we split them apart." With the passage of time, that energy transformed into matter. And through successive stages, it took the form of immense clouds of gas and dust. From these very clouds, the layers of the heavens came into existence, space, galaxies, stars, and ultimately, our solar system. The Quran describes this scene as follows. Then He directed Himself to the heaven, when it was a cloud of smoke. This stage consisted of 2 phases. As Allah declares, then He completed them as 7 heavens in 2 days. The second stage, the creation of the earth. The formation of the earth unfolded in 2 major phases. In the first phase, its basic structure was completed, and in the second phase, it was prepared to sustain life. In the beginning, the Earth existed as tiny particles, cosmic dust scattered through space. These particles collided and clumped together under the pull of gravity until larger rocky bodies began to form. Over time, these bodies merged into a massive spherical object, a young and developing Earth known as Proto-Earth. During this period, other planets of the solar system were going through the same process, shaping themselves in similar ways. Because of constant collisions, intense pressure, and enormous internal heat, this early Earth remained in a molten state, a fiery ocean of lava. But gradually, the outer surface began to cool, and a solid layer slowly emerged, the skin of the Earth, known as the crust. Meanwhile, the inner layers of the Earth also began to organize themselves. Under the force of gravity, the heavier elements sank downward, forming the core. The medium weight elements settled in the middle, forming the mantle, while the lighter elements rose upward and became part of the outer surface. Due to internal heat and pressure, this outer layer cracked and divided into tectonic plates. These plates continuously moved, some rising upward, others sinking beneath. Thus, Earth's surface became uneven, with high regions and low regions. These variations later became the foundation of continents and the basins of the oceans. Throughout this time, volcanic activity was intense, and the Earth trembled with continuous seismic motion. Volcanic eruptions released steam and vast amounts of gases, which accumulated in the atmosphere and formed the Earth's earliest air. This was the phase of Earth's creation that spanned 2 stages. Just as the Quran declares, "Say, do you indeed deny him who created the Earth in 2 days?" Here, 2 days refers to the 2 creative phases in which the material of the Earth came into existence, was shaped into a spherical body, and had its inner layers and structure arranged. The 3rd stage, preparing the Earth for life. With the passage of time, the temperature of the Earth gradually began to decrease. The steam present in the atmosphere condensed and turned into clouds. When these clouds grew heavy, a continuous and prolonged cycle of rainfall began. This rain fell upon the hot, uneven surface of the Earth, cooling it as it poured down endlessly. Water began to gather in the low-lying regions, areas that had already been shaped by the shifting of tectonic plates. Slowly and steadily, these deep basins filled with water, and the first oceans came into existence. Meanwhile, the elevated regions that remained above the water gradually took the form of continents. As time continued to pass, the tectonic plates of the Earth remained in constant motion. Some of these plates moved toward one another and began to collide. These tremendous collisions created immense pressure on the Earth's outer crust. Under this pressure, the surface began to fold upward, and thus majestic mountain ranges started rising from the face of the Earth. This process occurred especially when continental plates collided, their edges compressing together, while the central regions were pushed upward. With the emergence of these mountains, the Earth gradually shifted from a state of intense tremors to a condition of stability. The Quran describes this stage in the following words, "And he placed firmly set mountains upon the earth, so that it may not shake with you." When the great mountain ranges came into existence, the temperature of the earth began to decrease even further. With the combination of moisture and cold in the atmosphere, Snowfall occurred for the very first time. In the high mountain regions and the polar zones, snow began to accumulate continuously. Over time, this accumulated snow, under the pressure of its own weight, transformed into glaciers. These massive ice bodies moved slowly, carving the surface of the Earth as they advanced, forming valleys, lakes, and reservoirs of water. Slowly, gently, within the unfolding rhythm of creation, through the long stream of cosmic time, the very first touch of life began to appear. Oxygen emerged in the atmosphere. Plants began to grow and flourish. And within every living creature, pairs of male and female came into existence. By now, the Earth had become a stable, harmonious, and perfectly balanced system. The mountains stood as symbols of steadfastness. The valleys became the cradle of life, and the oceans settled as embodiments of balance and tranquility. The snow-covered regions became signs of purity, coolness, and serenity. And so, the continuous dynamic and purposeful stream of life began to flow across the Earth, unceasing, evolving, alive. The magnificent creation of the universe was completed in 6 distinct phases. The Quran mentions these stages at various points, highlighting the process of creation. Yet the true nature of these phases, their duration, and their precise sequence are known only to the One who gave existence to the void and brought the universe into being by his command of be.